Welcome to the Half in the Bag Disc Golf Podcast, streaming to you as part of the Joe's Disc Golf Podcast Network. And here are your hosts, Ben, Joe, and RJ.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of Half in the Bag Disc Golf Podcast. My name is RJ, and I am in Auburn, Indiana, and today I am drinking a blackberry wine from Grafton Winery in Grafton, Illinois.
Nice. I am Joe. I'm in Fort Wayne, and I am drinking from a water bottle.
And
LTTstore.com. It's actually a really cool design on here. It's a motherboard print, black and gold, and it's water is what I'm drinking because dealing with a fussy baby. And I need to have all my faculties about me. You might notice that we are sans one host, and that is because he's been farting too much on his pillow and now has pink eye. None of that is true. He actually is dealing with a sick child.
The first part may be true, but
that's probably actually true. We know him pretty well, and that might actually be true.
Yeah,
but he doesn't have pink eye. Yeah. As far as we know, he doesn't have pink eye.
Correct. Yes.
Can't wait till he hears this episode.
Yes, he also has to deal with a fussy baby.
Yes, a sick but on the mend baby.
Yes.
So the lesson is don't suck on your toes, which is what my daughter does all the time. She's 5 months old. So that's a thing. Yeah, I had to check the date. She's 5 months technically when this podcast is published.
Ooh.
So today first I got to go over all the important stuff like the socials. We still have our Twitter handle, the Half in the Bag DG, and that is fantastic. Active on there, wishing everybody a happy Valentine's Day today and doing the disc of the week, really emphasizing that S in disc of the week. We still don't have an Instagram, but Joe's Disc Golf does have an Instagram. We also have the website, joesdiscgolf.com, which I'm working on a website talking about our topic today, which is all about the All-Star weekend. And we also have the YouTube channel, which you may or may not be watching right now. You can also listen to us. If you don't like looking at us, you can just listen to us instead. And then we also have listener questions, which we have none yet. So if you have any questions, tweet at us, Instagram at us, Facebook at us, website at us, email at us, all of the at us's.
Shout it into the sky at us.
Yeah. You never know.
We're not sure that we'll get it, but hey, it'll be entertaining to someone.
If you live close enough, maybe. I've run into some listeners of the podcast, my podcast, in Warsaw, which is only about 45 minutes away, playing Lucerne Park. That was a good time. That was way back in like end of October, November, something like that. Played a putter only round, had a bunch of fun. We also have our Skip Ace Weekly League. If you want to join that, you have to use the code 3CQF. I believe that was in the last podcast description. If not, my bad. You can blame the editor or the producer or one of the hosts. I don't know. It's all the same guy. Webmaster.
There you go. It is also on our Twitter. It is our pin tweet. So you can find it there if you do not remember this at the end of our 2 hours of rambling.
Yeah. Don't leave this until it's over with, or just go for another couple more minutes. And I think it counts for a listen. I don't know how that all goes down. So either way, as long as we get credit, we don't really care.
Yeah.
No, we do. Yep. We love talking to you guys, and hopefully you love listening to our ramblings. And we have to pick up the slack because 1/3 of the hosts are not here, but 2/3 of the talking is gone.
That is a very accurate description. I will say I'm going to make a bold prediction and say this will be our shortest ever episode.
Yes.
We'll see if we can actually do that. But if you're looking for an episode under an hour, this might be the episode.
This is going to be your best bet. I'll say that.
Yes. So
if you've been living, I guess we can go into our first topic here.
Yeah, let's do it.
If you've been living under a rock, you might have missed the most important sporting event that has ever happened this weekend, and that was the DGPT All-Star weekend. I think there was a football game too.
Yeah, there was the FIFA Club World Cup. Chelsea won that one. Yeah. So I don't think anything else important happened this weekend, though. Although the day that we're recording, something very important happened. And if you're not sure what that was and you're listening to this, just you might want to check the date, guys. Yes. Yeah. Check the date and then go buy some flowers, guys.
Yeah, they're cheaper. Today, when you're listening to the podcast, they will be a lot cheaper.
Yes.
And that was the plan. You're being frugal. Try to see if that excuse works.
Yeah. While you're at it, go ahead and pick up a couple of those big heart-shaped boxes of candies, too, because you're going to need them.
Which will also be cheaper.
Yes.
So did I show off my signed disc last week? I can't remember.
No, you didn't. It was you right got there. It after we posted the disc of the week.
Yeah, let me pull that down real quick.
So for listeners who do not have the video on this, Joe got a very interesting disc last week. Do you want to go ahead and describe it, Joe?
Yeah, so it is a Lucid X Chameleon Justice, and it is this blue that kind of shifts to a purpley color. It might come up on camera, it might not, just because, the way cameras work. But I had asked because I think Dynamic Disc does a good job with their customer service. I think they make good products. I was on the Team Trilogy for a number of years. Since then, I've expanded out and have done different things, but I still like certain discs. Like I have multiple Justices. I have my less stable Justice, which is, well, when I beat it in the right way, it'll be a straight flyer. Then I have my normal Justice, and then I have my overstable Justice. And then I have my Air Justice, which flies like a normal-ish Justice, but I'm trying to see how that would go, if it might be better with a tailwind or something. I don't know. But I was actually surprised that 157 gram Justice, Moonshine Justice, flies as stable as the new Lucid Justices. But either way, I also have my putting Justice and my driving. No, I'm kidding. If I could get my hands on,
you also have the Justice I absolutely hate.
I actually want to get my hands.
It's a nice purple color. It's impossible to find in the woods.
Yes.
He throws it every single time in the woods.
Not anymore.
I darn near want to strangle him about
I have
2
one
holes in.
That looks just like this light blue one that doesn't have a whole bunch of signatures over it. So I worked during the pandemic. I was moonlighting as a warehouse guy for a local company here, a picker. So orders come in, pick it, box it up, ship it out, all that fun jazz. Tons of fun. A lot of walking around the whole area. So I understand how the people picking the orders don't necessarily get all the recognition for the hard work when, it's like the sales guy or whoever. In this case with disc golf, it's a little different, but I asked in my note if I could have all the warehouse and store people, because at their main location, trying to not get the reflection of that's not going to work so well.
There you go.
Tried to get the warehouse people to all sign it, basically, just like as a way of saying thank you and all that stuff. I didn't say anything about the podcast or anything like that, but I want to give a big shout out to everyone on here. I'm not going to say everybody's name because I don't want to, get anyone in trouble, but I will say the people who I was actually a little surprised that I got signatures from, and that would be Danny Lindahl. I was actually kind of surprised since he's one of their social media guys. I think Anthony's on here, another one of their social media guys. Jeremy Rusko, who owns Dynamic Discs, that one surprised me, and Eric McCabe. And I was actually really surprised with all of those. Put a post on. Did you
say Paige Shue also signed it?
I think so. I can't tell. Some of these signatures are hard to tell. What was super handy was a lot of people put their PDGA numbers on here. So I was able to look them up and go, oh, that's what those squiggles say. So
So what you're saying now is that because Eric McCabe signed it, you now have an EMAC Justice?
I have an EMAC Justice that I will never throw. There are a whole bunch of people on here that I'm just super excited and super happy. It was surprising to get that. And I put an Instagram post out there. I tagged Eric McCabe saying that this is the best mid-range out there. And the second best might be the EMAC Truth. But, now I have an EMAC Justice. And I also tagged, because this is a Kona special edition disc, or however, tour series. I don't know exactly what they're called. She gets a cut. I'll say it that way. It's a Kona disc. And I'm happy to support her and buy another Justice, because a Lucid X Chameleon Justice is stupid overstable. It is a baby tilt, is what I like to call it. When it grows up, it becomes a full tilt. Which I feel like there's another joke in there somewhere, but I tagged her in it, and she actually left me a comment on that saying that she needs to get something very similar done to one of her discs. So that kind of made my day last week sometime.
Yeah,
go back and look.
That is a super cool disc. As soon as you did that, I'm like, man, if they ever come out with Lucid Air Escapes again, I'm getting one for myself. Actually, I'm probably getting 50 for myself.
Yeah, because you never know when they're going to make them again.
Exactly. The next time they make them, I'll have gone through all of those, and they'll all be sitting at the bottom of rivers, or lakes. Yeah, and one that'll get signed that I'd like to get signed like that, because that is, putting aside all of the the EMAC and the et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that's just a cool disc having that. And I really like the idea behind it. But speaking of Kona, do we want to, does that stamp shift colors too?
No, it's just a rainbow just a rainbow. So the top of it, it's not coming through on the camera. Like it starts yellow, green, blue, purple, red, yellow, just in that stamp pattern, top to bottom.
Okay. No,
I'm glad that they signed this one, because the other one was just kind of a silver shatter. It looks cool, but the rainbow definitely looks better. And again, on the camera, it's just not coming through.
Yeah.
It's just like, I would have been happy either way. Don't get me wrong, but I'm happy they signed the prettier of the two. So
that somebody saw that request and was just like, oh, here, we've got two of them. This one's the pretty one. We'll sign it.
Well, and they sent me, because they sent me a text, because they do everything. It's much faster than replying through email. Yeah. So they sent me a text saying like, hey, we got your request. We'll do it, but it's going to take longer to ship. I was like, that's fine.
Whatever.
Like, I don't know. You don't know where I live, but there's like 1.5 feet of snow out there. I'm not getting out anytime soon. And the T-pads are all iced over. I'm not getting out anytime soon. So as long as I get it before March, I'm happy.
Yeah. I mean, well, and besides that, I mean, they are so good about getting stuff out quick.
Yeah. And I'm sure other companies,
so
I would be surprised if like Prodigy, if you asked Prodigy to do it, Discmania. One of my lights just fell over.
Oh my gosh. Joe's in the dark. He's never looked better. Technical problems here. But speaking of Kona, before I got distracted, do we want to go ahead and get into the event that she was playing in this weekend, or and really talk about the All-Star weekend? Those of you that are watching on YouTube know that Joe is not listening because he was hanging up his disc. But do we want to go ahead and get into the All-Star weekend?
Yeah. And if you guys are looking for an easy way to hang up your discs and don't want to put command strips all over your wall, I used 8-inch plate holders. They work pretty well, as you can see behind me. If you're listening on audio podcast, go over to youtube.com/Joe's Disc Golf.
If you're watching on YouTube, we're sorry. And you can catch the audio version that looks a lot nicer than this.
Yes. And you won't have lights randomly falling over. That was really weird.
Oh my gosh. I thought you blew like a fuse or something, because all of a sudden you just went dark.
Yeah, the dark web and all. Just it's where else do you buy your drugs? Where else do you buy your drugs?
The pharmacy?
Not the good one. Well, maybe. Opioids, yo.
Let's before we have to activate our fire truck of lawyers.
Before we get kicked off of YouTube.
Yes. So the All-Star weekend started on Thursday with the draft, obviously. Yep.
Did you watch the draft?
I did. Okay. I actually enjoyed it. It was a little bit dry. It was
the men's side was rough.
Yeah, there wasn't great entertainment value other than just being like, oh, I want to see kind of how this shakes out. Probably could have saved yourself the 45 minutes to an hour that it took.
Yep.
And just looked at where people went and where they were.
Yeah. For as big a presence as Eagle has on social media and how dynamic he is and all of his YouTube and Instagram and everything else that he does, he was pretty low energy. And I don't know, I know he has a house in Colorado and I don't know if they're on the same time zone as Arizona, but at most it's an hour difference. So you can't say it's, jet lag or something. It was it was weird. And Calvin was his typical self.
Yes.
He's a dry sarcastic. He's not someone that's going to do his sense of humor is not going to do well on camera.
Yeah.
I think he's hilarious when you listen to some of his stuff. I like dry, sarcastic, dark humor. And I think he's hilarious. It's just,
I loved his auto draft comment.
Yes.
I very much thought that was a joke. And then I'm like, oh, they're taking it very face value there. And I'm like, yes. I don't quite understand this.
They pretty much went straight down in line. And my prediction was correct. They took Nico last, even with the 2 wild cards. I mean, Garrett Gerthy, obviously distance.
Yeah.
Paul Ulibarri, he did putting.
Yep.
He's not a distance guy, but I wasn't sure. He's got a pretty accurate shot. But I wasn't sure.
Yeah. So just to kind of run through the teams, we'll start with the MPO team as soon as I actually get it pulled up, maybe.
Yeah. I thought it was an all right production. It felt, and I think I texted this to the group, it felt last minute. It felt like everything was just kind of put together last minute.
Yeah, I think this is an event that would really benefit from really making it an event. We joked at the very beginning about how there was a Super Bowl this weekend and this, there was a
poor timing.
Right. I mean, how dare they
schedule the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Years in advance.
Yes.
Don't get bids and everything. Cause how far out do they play in the Super Bowl? Is it 2-3 years, something like that?
Yeah, it's a couple years.
Yeah. I mean, it's
yeah, I mean, I think that this is something that would really benefit. And this is something that I even mentioned to, I don't remember whether it was just you or whether it was the group chat. I think they would really benefit from making it an event, putting the criteria out, fall of the year before or something along those lines where you can say, okay, this is when it is. This is where it's going to be. This is how you qualify for it or, get voted on or et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So, to me, I definitely think it's something that would benefit from being really an event where maybe you bring in maybe it's like the Masters where you bring in some personalities, some older players that don't necessarily tour, but, maybe have them do something on Wednesday or something, whether that's a short little par 3 course,
You make it a spectacle. You make it like Dynamic Discs Open, formerly Glass Blown Open. In April, it is the tournament itself is a 3-day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, something like that.
But they make a huge week-long spectacle. And there are C tiers, multiple C tiers every single day. It is like a huge block party. Now, this is obviously pre-COVID, and it's probably again this year going to be semi-limited. I don't know. Like right now, it seems like all the restrictions are starting to lift and go away.
Yeah.
I don't know. And with how far you have to plan an event like that, they might have been just going off of what it was back in, last August or September.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, I think that making it, like you said, a spectacle, I think is the right word.
Yep.
If you want to make this kind of a showcase event, don't plan it on the same week as the biggest football game of the year, but B, put stuff out there. Make it so that Paul Macbeth isn't like, oh, I scheduled a vacation for that week. Whoops.
Yeah, I listened to an interview he did with The Upshot, and they asked him just point blank, like, how come you're not going? He goes, I didn't know about this until January. And this interview was done in January. It was put out like the first week of February. And so they recorded it late January. He's like, I didn't know about it till a couple weeks ago. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and just say he didn't know about it. He found out January 1st. So that gives him a grand total of 6 weeks notice to get to Tucson, Arizona. That's just not practical. I mean, he had a family vacation. Ricky didn't show up because he's learning a new bag. And I totally get that. Like,
I don't.
From what I understand, they all got $1,000 for showing up. I don't know what the purse was that they split for the team, but Ricky's a millionaire now, and it's going to take more than $1,000 to get him to show up, unless it was a big party, essentially.
Yeah, unless it was, hey, this is going to be the disc golf showcase of the year. This is where we're going to.
I honestly think if they partner up, now I know it was canceled. Even though I think yesterday Nevada removed all restrictions immediately. So that was unfortunate. But Disc Golf Con is supposed to be in Las Vegas. It's supposed to be the week leading up to Las Vegas Challenge. I think if you partner that, like Disc Golf Pro Tour and Infinite Discs, who was running Disc Golf Con, if you put that all together and put that the weekend before Vegas, I think you're going to get a huge turnout between the two, because people can make time, like make the All-Star event, maybe the lead off thing. Yeah. And then that whole week is the convention, C tiers, whatever. And then you roll right into Las Vegas Challenge on I think it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
like that.
Ticket sales for all three events, which are all, two of them are independent, or one of them's independent from the other two. I think you'd get a pretty solid showing. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get back on track a little bit here and go through the teams. We don't even have Ben to blame it on now. Oh man. Maybe he's not the problem.
I'm trying to do the work of two people.
All right. So we'll start with Team Eagle. Do you remember who it was off the top of your head, Joe, or do you want me to just go through it?
Just read it, because I don't have a clue. I know it wasn't Calvin.
Correct.
Or Ezra.
Correct.
Or Nico. Or...
No, it was Nico.
Oh, it was Nico.
Yeah, it's Eagle, Chris Dickerson, Kevin Jones, Drew Gibson, Garrett Gerthy, Gannon Burr, Nico LaCastro, which...
That's right.
Allowed for my favorite thing of the entire weekend.
So this is what you were advocating for.
Was that Eagle put Gannon Burr and Nico LaCastro on the same doubles card. And I just saw that and I was just like, that is an excellent troll job. Congratulations, sir. You have won the disc golf internet for the week.
And as far as I know, they didn't have any issues.
Correct.
So that's good.
As far as I know. I wasn't able to watch the doubles.
Nobody called him on it. And you know that if he got called, either of them got called, it would have been all over Twitter.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You didn't have to watch it to know nothing got called, because there's nothing written up about it. And I didn't text you guys. Did you just see?
So
I watched most of it.
I will say though, Nico with probably the shot of the weekend.
Oh yeah.
But we'll get into that a little bit when we talk about the singles. So Team Calvin, of course, was Calvin, Adam Hams, Kyle Klein, James Conrad, Matteo, Ezra, and then Paul Ulibarri. So,
yeah. Did you see the clip going around of James Conrad just absolutely losing it, completely pissed off? He threw a bad shot. It went OB, and he just sat down and just kind of went, darn. And like hit the top of his bag very lightly. It was like the most, like, everybody's like, did you see him lose his mind? Just trolling, basically.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. That's about the emotional reaction you'll get out of him, outside of, that one amazing shot that I don't know if anybody's ever seen it, but he threw it in.
Hit an amazing shot. Okay. We'll have to look that up sometime.
Yeah.
So is there anything specific about either of those two teams that you want to hit on, or do we want to talk about the more entertaining of the drafts, the FPO side?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah.
It really was. They both just essentially went like right down the list. Like, all right, this is the number 2 seed, or well, technically number 3 seed. And just was like, okay, Eagle picked the next person after Calvin. And then Calvin picked the next 2 people. And for putting, honestly, men's was so tight, like statistically at least, that it really didn't matter who they threw in putting. It was going to be fine. It was going to be tight raced.
Yeah. I mean, my first reaction was the Eagle probably had a little bit better team just because of where Calvin, ended up putting some of his people. I did like his strategy of allowing people to pick their own thing. So I guess I should have seen that coming as, that him doing well with those players. And then, like I said, Calvin's comment about using auto draft as the strategy that killed me. I'm just like, that's great.
Oh, okay. That's where we're at. Man. My one suggestion would be to get an MC for it. Like almost go full out, like soccer style announcer, someone who's just going to go ham and just go, oh my God, did you see what just happened? And just going all berserk.
Wait, but they had Adam Hams.
Yeah. Just going, just having someone, maybe not obviously that crazy, but you get someone to inject a little life, someone, he's the draft commissioner or some crap like that. I don't know. Make up some title.
Draft. Get somebody there that, the people can boo, have him do his best Roger Goodell impression.
Get Ricky Gervais. I hear he always makes fun of a ton of people.
Well, let's talk about the other 2 teams that I really didn't know how to split this. A lot of people said that Team Page was going to sweep after the draft. And I looked and I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it looked a little more balanced than I thought it would have been. It was far more entertaining. The Katrina and Paige really got into it, relatively speaking. I mean, like
they played off of each other's energy.
Yes.
I think you could see that when Paige was going, oh, Lisa was going to be my partner.
Yep.
So that was
entertaining.
Certainly
I
nice
like that
see.
part.
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping, at least from the guys. Like, I think it would have been interesting to see the dynamic just between Ricky and Paul. And then just some of the questions that the field reporter guy was asking is like, when he asked Paige, he's like, oh, how do you think you're going to do? And she's like, do you think I'm going to try to lose?
Like, what are you supposed to say to that?
She looked at him and her response was basically like, is this the dumbest sports question that's ever been asked?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think you're going to blow him out, or do you think it's going to be tight? What are you supposed to say to that?
We're going to
something
win.
along those lines. So
the only time you can ask that question, and it's okay for them to say, no, we'll probably lose, is if you're talking about the Lions. I almost said the Browns, but they're not that bad anymore.
So let's
Baker
talk
gets
about
traded.
the Lionesses that played in
yes,
In this event, Team Paige was obviously Paige Pierce with Missy Gannon, Haley King, Kona Panis, Owen Scoggins, Heather Young, and Madison Walker. And then Team Katrina was obviously Katrina.
Yep.
And she picked Sarah Hokum, Holly Finley, Jessica Weiss, Lisa Fakis, Deanne Carey, and Rebecca Cox.
Yes. Speaking of Holly Finley, this is how I know, or I am fairly confident, that the wild cards were all added last minute. I'm not sure where Double G lives. I know Paul Ulibarri lives in the Tucson-ish, Phoenix-ish area. So not a big deal there. I forget who are the two wild cards, Holly Finley and
Madison Walker, who Madison Walker is going to be there as part of the coverage team, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because she double dips in that. Holly Finley didn't show up until a couple hours before the putting started. So
yeah. They even mentioned that she was not there during the draft, and I'm like,
yes,
that's strange that you wouldn't have had the. I mean, whatever. You know, I think the wild cards was interesting. I mentioned I wonder how much of it was, trying to avoid a tie. Because obviously, going before the wild cards, there were a total of 12 points. It could have very easily been 6-6 or whatever.
Yeah.
And in fact, it might have been 6-6 without the wild cards. It may have actually been that, but
I don't know. It's you had an extra doubles team, so that ended adding a point there. But then you had individuals.
You didn't have an extra doubles team. It was the same number of doubles teams. Yeah. Unless somebody was just out there throwing 2 shots at a time.
You never know. But it was, I don't know. I wasn't a fan of it. You should have just had it right off the bat. It felt, again, the theme haphazard and last minute. Especially because Holly drove in, from what I understand, she lives in the Carolinas.
Yeah, North Carolina is what I want to say.
She lives on the East Coast.
Yes.
And didn't fly, which whatever.
Flying is not cheap.
That just made it feel more last minute. No, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know why she would have intentionally chose to show up, drive that far across the country. That's probably 20 something hours to drive across the country to show up, 2 hours, 3 hours before the event started.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I mentioned it to you. I would really like to see the selection process go, obviously based on points, and then probably some type of fan vote, and then maybe some type of players vote if they want to, add people, if they want to have this expanded field where it's, I would love to see. I don't know if we have enough in each field where it makes sense to have a players vote yet. Yeah. I mean,
because if you're talking just tour card holders, that's not that many people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's certainly one of those things where it's just like, okay, I mean, I think that there's better things to do than just arbitrarily add people based on wherever it's being held, or, having somebody drive across the country last minute. Like I said, make it a spectacle, figure out your criteria early on.
Yeah.
Go from there.
And again, I want to emphasize, I don't have any proof that it was last minute. It just feels like it comes across that way. I'll say that. Whether it was or it wasn't.
When every disc golf media and social media commentator said, where the heck did this come from?
Yeah.
It makes it feel like it was not planned ahead of time.
Yes. And they did an All-Star event last year. This is technically the second one. I didn't watch it last year, so I am not comparing it to that. I'm just going off what I've seen here. And I know they made major changes to it because there's a lot of people who did not like the format last year. Because last year it was 2 rounds. There were no skills, if I'm remembering correctly. And it was 2 rounds of doubles, 1 round of best shot, 1 of worst shot. And I don't know how you distinguish between the two unless one's obviously worse. Like, you landed in the fairway, you landed in a bush. I guess we're throwing from the bush.
Yeah.
You know,
you landed OB. So, yeah, I guess we're taking that one.
Yeah.
No reason for me to chuck it and lose a disc.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me try to throw an OB further up, though. No, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me try and get a better. Oh, wait. Nope. That doesn't work.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
let's try and get some better footing. Oh, dang it.
That was a good, like, they did make improvements in a lot of ways, but it also felt like they shot themselves in the foot in new ways.
Yeah. It feels like something that will grow and develop, and I'm excited to see it grow and develop because I actually really enjoyed this format. I enjoyed the skills competition leading into doubles, leading into kind of that straight up style. I thought I liked the draft good. Like
they do for the NBA. And then I'd like to see them look kind of at how the NFL does like the Pro Bowl minus the 2-hand touch in full pads. And
so wait, you want tackling in disc golf now?
Oh yeah. Full contact.
Just in Joe from Joe's Disc Golf wants disc golf to be full contact.
But you know, look at how they do the skills competition
after his ace, but
yeah, you know, look at how they do their quarterback challenge and all those different skills contests like that, and just kind of see how they do it and just build off of that. You know, you have a blueprint out there. Why not use it? Or even the NHL does similar things with the skills. You know, look at the NHL, look at the NFL and just go, all right, you know, NBA, I don't think it would work as well because it's just a dunk contest and then the All-Star game.
They do 3-point contests. Oh, yeah. They used to do like I remember years ago them doing some type of like skills contest type thing where it was literally just like, you dribble around some cones and then make some passes and then hit a shot.
It's the T drill with a basketball.
Pretty much.
We're going to do the beep test, but you have to dribble.
Oh man. There goes our one listener after having flashback nightmares of the beep test.
Yeah. So I want to like my criticism. Wow. You'd think I've been drinking. I swear it's only water. My criticism is only coming from a place where I want to make this better. Like I'm pointing out things that I don't know if the people at Disc Golf Network and Disc Golf Pro Tour noticed, but it's just one of those things where it's like, as a fan, and just comparing it to what it was, what like normal coverage was even last year. It's like, guys, this is like a half a step backwards in some respects. Like I mean, I guess better the All-Star event than Las Vegas Challenge, but like,
yeah. I mean, I don't even know if criticism is the right word. Well,
constructive criticism.
I guess it is, but it's
constructive criticism.
It's constructive. We want to see this get better. Because we think I think
there's
really
a lot
fun.
Of potential there.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get into the skills challenge a little bit. You know, we talked about how we liked this format.
Speaking of criticisms, the camera work was difficult in the skills challenge. Yes,
I think is a good way of putting it.
When the camera focuses on Paige Pierce for the entire flight of her shot, that's not how it's supposed to go.
I don't know. Paige Pierce is, something that people want to look at, I guess.
I mean, I kind of wanted to just look at her shot because, you know, she threw the disc 400 and something odd feet. I forget what it was off the top of my head.
442. You're welcome.
I don't know if it was that specific shot, but she, you know, threw all of them 380 plus easily.
I would love to see the flight of that disc and how that goes. So let's get into distance. This is the one where I think we kind of mostly got it wrong. I think that when we were looking at this, we approached it as, okay, who's going to go out there and win the long drive competition?
Yes.
Not at all what this was.
No, there was a lot more accuracy in this one than we thought.
Well, and it was cumulative. So
that too.
So Paige Pierce threw 442 feet. She would have won the basic one, or just a long drive competition.
But Kat was 3 feet short?
439.
So basically it came down to who was your number two. Because those two, 3 feet, that is, Paige got a slightly better skip and roll. Like hers didn't curl back as much.
Yeah, exactly. So for Team Paige, it was Paige and Kona.
Yep.
Which surprised me a little bit. I was not expecting Kona to be in distance.
Kona's got a big arm.
I know it just sneaks up on me. Similar to Calvin Heimberg.
That's the one thing that's really propelled her to the top 10. I think she was number 9 last year in DGPT points.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That propelled her to the top 10 in the FPO was because she could drive at a mile. Her putting percentage last year was like 50%.
Yeah, it was not ideal.
But if you can throw it 400 feet, on a par 4, you're getting birdie.
You're going to be okay. Yeah. So it was Paige and Kona versus Katrina and Jessica Weiss.
Jessica Weiss struggled.
Yeah, she was kind of the odd one out in this one. The other 3, all threw it over 420 feet, which would be about 3 shots for me.
It depends on my day. It could be 1 shot. It could be 3 shots. I don't know.
Yes.
Especially with the inbounds component. That's the part.
Yes.
Like it might be 1 shot if I get it straight. That's a big if.
Yes. That is why we are not pros and they are.
And even they struggled. All of them threw it out of bounds at least once.
Yeah. I remember seeing something that, one of the big things is just getting one inbounds so that you don't put up a 0.
Yes. When I ran high school track, that was my position as a high jumper when we did relay meets. You are not a 0 and we win. And I was not a 0. But with this, like they all threw it on the right hand side. There's a fence. There's a tree line. It was a very clear, like this is OB. On the right hand side. Is it the right hand?
2 right hand sides.
No, sorry. It was the right hand side for the trees and all that stuff. And on the left hand side, I was thinking of it from the catch cam. The left hand side, there was a cart path that I thought was out of bounds, and I think it was. But then the way they also made it seem was like some of them were OB that were still in the grass, but it was kind of the dead grass. So I was like, okay, you have to keep it in the green fairway. And then I think Paige landed one on the left-hand side that was in the brown grass, but it was inbounds. So from a viewer's perspective, I didn't know what the hell was inbounds or not. Obviously, the one that went over the fence in the trees, yeah, that's easy. But like, even let maybe the commentators didn't even know, but just like, oh yeah, you see the cart path, that's OB. And on the other side where there's no cart path, it's like 10 feet off the fence or something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
I'm sure it could have been a little bit more clear.
But there's far more accuracy involved than I thought. Yeah.
So as we said, Jessica Weiss was kind of the odd one out, and that's really what kind of separated it for them. Paige and Kona,
the other Kona. With an at the end.
Yes.
No, at the end, I guess.
Winning it 866 feet to 830 feet.
That's
relatively straightforward. Go through the disc far, keep it in bounds. Yeah, keep it in bounds. So
kind of what we said.
Accuracy. Yeah. I mean, that's very similar to kind of what we expected was throw it far, keep it in a path, and go do well.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about the accuracy. This is the one that I think was the least straightforward, I think.
Yes. And it was, I'll put my complaints, I guess, out first. We didn't know how far, they didn't say how far it was from the tee pad to, so they had a couple pine trees that were acted as Mandos. For your first 3 throws, I think everybody had to go to the left. After that, everybody had to go to the right. Then they had ratchet straps across the middle. And then you had to go above one And then the next one, you had to go below it. And then they had 2 more vertical ones. So you had to go through this box. So basically a dead straight shot. They never said how far it was to the pine trees. And then they never said how far it was from the tee to the basket. My guess was, and I was trying to look it up, but I don't think they actually played the hole. My guess was about 300 feet, with the trees being somewhere around 100 feet, give or take. And you're throwing downhill ish. The basket is lower than you are. I'll say it that way.
Yeah.
Other than that, like, it was really cool to see the skill. Like, the shots that these girls were hitting, and guys, I mean, it was the same setup both ways.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The shots that they were hitting, like the lines they were hitting, I felt bad for Rebecca Cox. She does not have a forehand. So that left Mando was brutal. She struggled, but then kicked ass after.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the competitors in this one were Haley King and Madison Walker for Team Page, which surprised me because Kona and Haley got picked at basically the same spot.
Yep.
And Kona ended up in distance and Haley in accuracy. Haley
looked like she was struggling.
What was that?
Haley looked like she was struggling, to be completely honest.
Honestly, I was a little surprised by that choosing. I thought they probably could have been switched, but
yep.
I know Haley put herself in accuracy. So
yes. And I think generally speaking, everybody who switched companies this offseason did pretty well, all things considered. Yeah. There were definitely some shots overall, not just in accuracy, where they're just like, you could tell they're like, I didn't realize that with this power and this wind, it would have turned that much more, or it would have faded out or hyzered out just that much sooner. Yeah. So there's still some learning, but overall, I think everybody had their bag, Las Vegas, it'll be a bit, the first couple tournaments, shaking off the rust.
Yeah. So then those two were the Team Page competitors. Sarah Hokum, Rebecca Cox were the Team Allen competitors. And Team Allen ended up picking this one up 24-13. So 1-1 through 2 events. Then we get into the putting.
That was exciting to watch, to be completely honest. Watching Own putt was just amazing.
It sounded like she kind of dominated this competition.
It was kind of funny. I forget who went first, but they set a benchmark of like 21 points, and the commentators were basically like, that might be good. We don't know. This is the first time this format's been done. So they had a straight shot at 20 feet at an elevated basket.
Yep.
And then they had 25 feet. They had
25 feet obstructed,
and then at a regular basket.
Yes.
Then 33 feet.
Yeah. Regular and obstructed and elevated.
Yeah. And it was elevated. And then you had one like bonus shot from 66.
Yeah.
Oh no. And then you had 45
feet and 66 feet.
Then you had 5 shots, 5 putts at each one. The further you at 20 and 25, it was only worth 1 point. And then it was 2, 3, and 6, 2, 3, and 5, I think.
Yeah.
So if you bang that 66 footer, nobody did on the women's side.
Correct.
But Own was by far the closest. She was off by just a smidge. Watching them putt, like watching Own putt was just a work of art. She just destroyed everybody because she went, I forget who went first. They got 21 points. Commentators were like, maybe good, maybe bad. We don't know. Because first time ever, who knows? Yeah. And then whoever went next got like 10 or 11 points. And then whoever went after that got like 35 points and then 36 points. And then Own got like 38 points or something like that.
Sheesh.
Just destroyed it. She went 14 of 15 to start.
I believe it.
I wish I could go 14 to 15 from 20 feet unobstructed, no wind indoors.
Yeah. So team page for this one for putting was Missy Gannon, Heather Young, and Owen Scoggins.
Yep.
Right there, I can tell you pretty much that's going to be a hard team to beat in putting.
I think it was Missy that went first and got the 21. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And everybody was just kind of like, meh.
Yeah. And then the unfortunate trio that really had to try to best that was Lisa Fakis, Holly Finley, and Deanne Carey.
Yeah. Holly Finley looked off, but finding out that she was working on like a couple hours of sleep.
Yeah, that's tough.
You drove all night. You get there, you're in elevation. It's just, you're like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. And so yeah, that was that one obviously went to Team Page. So she had a 2-1 lead at the end of the first day. Yep. On the MPO side, the Team Eagle.
Yes.
Had for distance, they had Drew Gibson and Garrett Gerthy. Yep.
Because the only person I would have thrown in there besides that would be Eagle.
Yeah. So they ended up getting 1,262 feet for a combined score. And this is where I think it's interesting that it wasn't just a long drive competition, because Garrett Gerthy had the longest drive of the group.
Yes.
At 661 feet.
That's insane.
Team Eagle lost.
It should be noted that it wasn't where the disc hit the ground. It's where the disc finished.
Yeah.
Other distance competitions, it's where your disc hits the ground. So
yeah.
Just as a clarification, there's talk of throwing rollers. Because
why not?
I mean, if it doesn't matter where your disc hits the ground, throw a sky roller and, if Garrett Gerthy threw 600 feet and he's like, let's throw a roller. What's the worst that happens? I throw it further.
Yeah, exactly. So Team McMahon actually lost, even though Garrett Gerthy had the longest drive.
Yep.
Because Calvin and Ezra combined for 1,280 feet. So about 18 feet further.
Yep.
Because they were just simply more consistent.
Yeah. And that's, that bit of accuracy component in there. Mm-hmm. It's not like at Worlds where they just give them a stack of discs and tell them to go chuck.
Throw them as far as possible.
Yeah.
So obviously that was, I would say, a little bit of an upset for Team Calvin.
Yep.
But then let's get into accuracy, which was for Eagle. It was Kevin Jones and Nico LaCastro versus Team Heimberg's Kyle Klein and Matty O.
Mm-hmm. All fairly accurate players. Like it was again
really tight competition.
Yeah,
and I think that kind of bears it out when it was 38-33 in the final score of that, with Jones and LaCastro winning it for Team Eagle.
Yep.
And then,
with the way that one was scored was you got 5 points for an ace, 3 points for a bullseye, which I think was like the 10-foot circle. Circle 1 was 2 points and circle 2 was 1 point, I believe.
Yeah.
So it was
Makes
fun
sense.
to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, as I said, Team Eagle won that one, making it 1-1. And then putting, we had Eagle McMahon, Chris Dickerson, and Gannon Burr versus Adam Hams, James Conrad, and Paul Ulibarri. Do you remember who won that one, Joe?
Not off the top of my head.
It was Team Eagle.
Team Eagle. No, the ties were in
Eagle.
Doubles. Never mind.
Yes. So
sorry.
So after one day, we had Team Eagle leading Team Calvin 2-1. Same thing that we saw in the
FPO
women's competition with Team Page leading Team Katrina.
Yep.
So then they got into the doubles, which, I didn't really put a whole lot of stock into when I was thinking about who might get drafted where.
Yeah.
I mean, at least based on what Paige said, it sounded like she had kind of thought out, okay, this is who I went with who, this is et cetera, et cetera. So
it just, I wasn't thinking quite as much. And the general vibe in MPO and FPO was more casual, I would say, on coverage.
Yes.
Yeah, they're still trying to throw good shots, but it wasn't a tournament round. It was a little more intense than the skills competition, but it was still like, we're just having fun.
Yeah, we're out here, we're playing best shot. You guys are playing best shot. We're out here to have fun.
Yeah, we just need the beer cart to come around and.
Yes. So
hey, it wasn't sanctioned, so that's legal.
Yes. So for the women's doubles, actually it might have been because they got round ratings.
I don't know. I assumed it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think so either, but so for the women's doubles, the teams were Paige Pierce and Heather Young versus Jessica Weiss and Lisa Fakis.
Yep.
They each went 9 down with Team Paige and Heather getting an eagle on the last hole to draw level.
That's crazy. I missed the ending of it, so I didn't actually see that.
I'm just looking at the scorecards here.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so then you had, because the way the teams were paired off, it was your seed number added together, and then you just, whoever was the closest, you went with them.
Yeah.
So if you were 1 and 3 against 2 and 4,
2 and 4, you wouldn't be facing 9 and 10 paired together.
It made the most sense because you weren't then just going, well, these are our 2 best players going against their 2 worst and vice versa. And then it's a draw at the end of the day because each team got 1. Which
is actually kind of what happened here because Haley King and Owen Scoggins went -9 versus Sarah Hokum and Rebecca Cox's -5. So they took a full point there. But then it's canceled out by Katrina Allen and Deanne Carey going -8 versus Kona and Missy going -4.
So there is a bit of thought, I guess, put into pairings, not just with personalities and play style, but who's ranked what could really change how things go.
Yeah. So with each of them getting 1.5 points on Saturday, Team Page obviously led Team Katrina 3.5 to 2.5 through 2 days. If you're following at home doing the math, make sure that my math is right there. The guys, though, they also had an interesting day because after 2 days, they finished tied 3-3. So Calvin gained a point there.
Yeah, it was, ties were bound to happen.
Yes. So Chris Dickerson and Drew Gibson went -14. Calvin Heimberg, Matty O, -14. That's that -14 is going to be the number to remember here because 5 of the 6 teams in MPO hit -14.
That's just crazy. I mean, that was a long course too, but best shot doubles, you get someone who plays it safe, or maybe not safe, but I think I'm going to have to sign off here.
Oh no.
Yes.
So really quickly, Eagle and Kevin Jones and Adam Hams and Kyle Klein each got -14. James Conrad and Ezra Aderhold got -14 in their pairing. And they got the point over Gannon Byrne, Nicola Castro, who only went -13. So I would love for them getting called Yeah, I would love for them getting called on slow play to be the reason they lost.
No
but
kidding.
I don't think it was. That'd just be hilarious.
So I think this is actually a decent spot to end it here. We will be ticking in at just under an hour, and we could come back next week with our Las Vegas Challenge preview.
Well, really quickly.
Yes.
Do we just want to say who won each?
Sure. It's not going to be a secret.
Yeah. So obviously, Katrina with the big comeback at the end of the day, and actually her win, putting her team up 7-6 over Paige, and then obviously some drama with the guys as
a little bit.
Yeah,
it came down to the wire there with Calvin taking it down.
Yeah, Calvin taking it down. Eagle hitting a putt to make Calvin make a putt, and Calvin responded. So Calvin ended up winning 7-6.
Calvin birdied the back 9. He actually birdied like the last 13 of 14
13 of 14,
holes.
I think is what I saw. I couldn't find any scorecards on that. I think I saw that round got rated as like a 1091.
It was crazy.
Yeah, extremely good.
I think that does it here for Half in the Bag. Sorry for the abrupt ending, but sick children call. Yes. And I have to answer that lest I be murdered.
Yes. So thank you everyone for listening, and hope you enjoy your week. Sorry about the slightly truncated episode, but we hope that you enjoyed it. We enjoyed watching the All-Stars. Hope that you enjoyed this episode. We're really looking forward to Las Vegas next week. Well, not next week, but making some predictions for Las Vegas next week.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, share. We're on all the major audio podcast locations where you're probably listening to this now. There's also a YouTube channel, which I did release a video just last week about some shoulder exercises. And you can definitely look forward to some upcoming videos about a proper warm-up, multiple different lengths of warm-up, depending on how intense you want to get and what level you're playing there. But that about does it there. Don't forget to follow us, Half in the Bag DG on Twitter, Joe's Disc Golf on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, joesdiscgolf.com, halfinthebagdg.com.
Yep.
RJ
Absolutely.
On Twitter.
RJ Wilson 131, I believe is what it is.
Sure,
Don't follow me.
Roll with it.
Follow the better Twitter at Half in the Bag DG.
Follow the more active one. But
yes. I think as running that account as the admin, I have more tweets than my personal account.
Yes. I think that about does it. So thank you all for watching and listening, and have a great week.
Yeah. Bye.